Can you please enlighten me what this fucking comment means?
Hey Bree, so sorry I couldn't make a video last night. It was I needed to quiet it down around here because he was going to bed. So what I would like to do is extend an olive branch to you because I see that you're a new content creator, which means you don't have a lot of videos or a lot of engagement yet. So I just kind of wanted to give you the perspective from what's going on the other side of social media, because I know that if you feel a certain way, for example, social media is going to follow you that way, right? It's going to keep sending you posts on the same things that you believe in. And so you wouldn't see the information on the side that I'm seeing it. And I'm not here to say that you're dumb or you're stupid or you're uneducated, nothing like that. That is not the point of this conversation. The point is to extend an olive branch and give you some of the information that I'm seeing so that maybe we can kind of fact check each other and make sure that we're getting the correct information and actual factual information rather than information that's just floating out propaganda, right? Because we can both admit that there's many countries out there spending billions of dollars to try to convince people which way they want to vote in this election. I'm sure you can probably agree with me on that. Countries are extremely invested in what's happening right now. So, where do I start? Okay, so what I want to do is direct you to a website called the IDU. I'm sure you've probably heard mention of this topic. If you just Google what is the IDU, literally their website will come up. And their purpose, it's a global association that works together to assist each other in winning each other's elections. It's right there on their webpage. That's what they stand for. So on their main webpage, it'll say, "Oh, we're here to endorse cooperation in the world," and whatever. But they're basically just trying to get each other elected. So members of the IDU are Benjamin Netanyahu, the one who is bombing innocent children in Gaza, Peter Dutton in Australia, who is the next election to come up, because on their website, they actually show like which world election is coming up next, and Canada's is next. And then after that, it's Australia. So in Australia, Peter Dutton is the candidate that's involved with the IDU. That's the next election that they're going to help try and win for him. So other members of the IDU are Viktor Orban in Hungary, which you can actually see right now in online protests. He has actually banned pride parades or pride marches of any kind. And right now the people are protesting that because he's saying that that's against people's rights, I guess. He's basically banned all pride marches because he has disdain for LGBTQ community. And then also members of this IDU are the Republicans in the United States. And you can see a lot of similarities. They're going after the trans people. They're attacking the LGBTQ. They're attacking immigrants. Basically, anybody that can vote against their policies, they're trying to get them out of the United States. So they're deporting immigrants. They just took away a woman's right to vote if her ID does not match her birth certificate, because most women's don't. You need a passport in order to do that. And most women don't have that. So you can see in the Republican Party, the same thing happening. They're trying to take away as many rights as possible in order to create a dictatorship. And this is happening in all of these countries that have members of the IDU in charge. So now let's cut to Canada. The Conservative Party of Canada is also in the IDU, head by Pierre Poilievre. This IDU was created by Margaret Thatcher many years ago from the UK, but it is now led by Stephen Harper, which is our former Conservative leader. So the Conservative Party of Canada is also involved in this IDU. So basically all of those countries with all of those dictators, they are assisting Pierre Poilievre in winning this election, or at least they're trying to. So at first glance, right away, you can see that the types of parties that are involved with this committee or this section don't agree with a lot of the things that the majority of Canadians believe in. So the majority of Canadians believe in the free right to abortion. They believe that LGBTQ people should be treated fairly and equally. They believe in Indigenous rights. They believe in minorities. But unfortunately, all the members of the IDU don't. They believe in a religion that's called Zionism. And Zionism is like the ultimate white supremacy tool. So their extreme beliefs actually say that, they don't want to intermix their genes with anyone that does not have white nationalist genes, so hence getting rid of all the immigrants. They don't want to taint the bloodline, so to speak. They want to make sure that their bloodlines remain pure. They want to make sure that women are basically meant to have children. They have a big push right now stating that global birth rates are declining and that that's a significant concern for them. If you've ever seen The Handmaid's Tale, you'll get some sketchy vibes off that. But they basically want to get to the point where they can control women. They don't want them to be allowed to vote. They want their husbands to be allowed to vote for them. They don't believe that women should be involved in research or medicine because women aren't smart enough. So this Zionism is like a global push. And right now, that global push is standing behind Pierre Poilievre. And if you've noticed, a lot of his comments have to do with saying that the indigenous people should have learned to work harder instead of getting truth and reconciliation, or that, women's biological clocks are ticking. You've heard him make these comments. And so when you hear these comments and this global push, and then you investigate the actual Conservative Policy of Canada declaration, which is what I was showing you, you can see that the way that they've worded everything in there is so that once they get into power, they can change it all. The second thing I would like to point out is if you actually go back to the video that you posted with me and look at all the comments that are in that video, you will see the majority of them are bots. So anybody in there that's basically throwing slander at me or telling me that I'm wrong or look up my information, if you actually click on those people and go into their profiles, they have like 2 followers. They've posted no videos, or if they have posted a video, it's a video of that Mario Zendaya guy or whatever, the guy who basically has been fact-checked 4 million times. So I know there's a ton of other issues on the table in this election. I know that has to do with taxes and, all of those things. And I get that. But your post specifically was about the comment of the woman saying that, you should lie to your husbands to save your daughters. This is where that comment's coming from, because the IDU has a severe push to control everything that women do in every part of their lives. So you can do with this information as you will. If you want to make fun of me or send another video telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, that's totally fine. You're entitled to your free speech. But I would really encourage you to Google the IDU. Just look up, the things that they say that they're going to do, and then maybe follow the rabbit hole. Go into your, search at the top of your TikTok and just type in IDU and, see what they're up to. Or maybe just go into my posts that I reposted about some of these things and see what the other side of social media is telling you. And then from there, you can choose to agree or disagree with me. It doesn't matter. I at least think it's fair that you have all of the information, though, before you make a decision. Again, if you want to make fun of me for saying these things, then that's your right. You can feel free to go ahead. But the other part that I'm really uncomfortable with right now is the fact that Pierre Poilievre and his supporters are promoting things like Stop the Steal, which is what happened in the United States. They're promoting the fact that they don't believe in the polls and they may not believe in the election results. And they're trying to get their people riled up because they want them to basically do a January 6th in Canada. And if you look at some of their social media posts, that's what they're planning. They want to riot to try to overthrow the government. And this is extremely dangerous rhetoric. Our Canadian elections are extremely safe. They're all paper ballots, except for Ontario during the Ontario election. It's electronic machine. But in Canada, the federal elections are all done by paper. So unless you can massively coordinate this huge, expensive plot to change all of the paper votes all across Canada, it's literally impossible to steal one of our elections. But if you pay attention over the next little while, you'll see that that's the rhetoric they're trying to push. They're trying to make it false. And they're just going to throw out these lies and wait for someone to fact check them after, because they know no one's going to pay attention to the fact checking process on the other end. This is exactly how Trump got into power. He just throws out a bunch of lies and his followers start believing them. And because they're busy with their own lives, they don't have time to fact check him and they don't have time to wait around. So they just listen to what he has to say and they move on. And Pierre's doing the exact same thing. And that's why he's limiting the press coverage. When I was at the rally in my hometown, he literally had the press like 20 feet behind him, behind like a fence, telling them that they could not answer questions. And when one of the local reporters actually shouted out a question, he called her a protester because he didn't want to answer the question. So just ask yourself, if this leader is not willing to answer the difficult questions in front of the press, how is he qualified to run this country? I honestly think Donald Trump would wipe the floor with him. So while I understand taxes suck and there's a lot of crappy things that have gone on in the last little while, Canada's not as broken as you might think it is. Look up some of the things that Trudeau and the Liberal government actually did for us in the last 9 years. They weren't perfect, absolutely. There's definitely things that need to be changed, but they did the best that they could. And if you can take a look at that and maybe have an open mind, maybe we can get somewhere in this conversation. So I wish you the best of luck in your voting. You have the right to vote for who you want and you have the right to say what you want, but I would just like you to share some information before you make that decision. Elbows up. Stay Canadian, girl.